starting a couple minutes late, so that should be okay. We always want to be respectful of your time. But welcome. Welcome to this webinar to learn more today about the Master of Legal Studies in Cybersecurity and Data Privacy. I always like to look at the attendee list, and I have spoken with some of you, so it's really nice to see you here. For those that I haven't met, hopefully we'll speak more in depth either after this webinar or during this webinar. Just a couple housekeeping items. Brian and I conduct these webinars in a pretty informal fashion. So at any time you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand or chat a question in the chat or the Q&A. You go to the next slide, Brian.
There we go.
Okay, so just some quick introductions so you know who's speaking to you. I'm Julie DiBiasio. I'm the Director of Graduate Studies and Professional Development here at CSU College of Law. So if you choose to go through this program, you will work very closely with me during your time being admitted to the program and in the program. But who you're going to hear from most of today is Professor Brian Ray. Professor Brian Ray directs our Center for Cybersecurity and Privacy Protection. He also created this Master of Legal Studies in Cybersecurity and Data Privacy, and he teaches in this program. And I always embarrass him, but I must say, every single semester after Brian teaches a class, I get nothing but rave reviews of how wonderful of a professor he is and how much the students enjoy having him in class. So hopefully you will be able to experience him in class, but today you will be able to hear his wealth of knowledge about this space, the growing careers in this space, and then of course this program. So Brian, I will turn it over to you.
Yeah, and so I'm going to briefly sketch out the program and tell you a little bit about the content and then hand it back to Julie, who will talk to you about the application process and the timelines. So, Master of Legal Studies in Cybersecurity and Data Privacy, what do? Well, we're a distinctive program in the market, maybe even unique, in that we are a law-focused cybersecurity and data privacy program that incorporates not only the legal aspects, but also gives you a thorough grounding in the technology. And this is a program that is based on a certificate we created for lawyers in training for our own JD students, and then expanded it to add in some additional topics, including the baseline of law for non-lawyers and some additional technical depth. But what we give you is, in essence, what I call 360-degree view of these two related fields. And so it is it's a thorough survey and a deep dive into some of the legal topics that'll give you a knowledge base and a skill set that's valuable really in almost any role you can imagine in this field. What I'm careful to emphasize to prospective students, however, is that we are not a training ground that'll give you the basic and in-depth technical knowledge to pivot from a non-technical profession into a technical role in cybersecurity. If you want to do that, there are some additional skills you've got to acquire and some certifications that you can go after. Instead, we give you that more in-depth and more rounded understanding and knowledge base that, again, can stay with you and give you valuable tools throughout a career in cybersecurity. So we're a program that is designed for, again, anybody in any role, but in particular for people who envision themselves moving up into more senior strategic roles, where you're going to be responsible for working with legal inside and outside counsel and making decisions around some of the risks that the laws pose and how to and understanding how to comply with those laws. Okay, so the legal side of cybersecurity, it's already been an extraordinary large area of law, and it just keeps growing. The European Union, we've got GDPR up there. GDPR used to be the new thing in privacy, and it still is the the sort of leading model paradigm for most of the world outside of the US in data privacy and security. But now the EU has an AI Act that's coming online, and again, that's sits in a, sort of the outer orbit of cybersecurity and privacy, but it's the kind of topics that you'll encounter as you go through some of our courses. And then, of course, here in the United States, the number of states that have data privacy laws has grown exponentially. I believe it's Connecticut and Colorado whose laws just recently came into force. They were part of a large tranche of states that passed new data privacy laws, and most of these laws also, in fact, all of these laws also include some requirements for cybersecurity. And then, as that bottom bullet point notes, these legal issues flow through, right? They're not just the provenance of legal counsel or even of compliance folks. Because the laws require certain things to be implemented at a technical level, it's really important for anybody, and especially anybody in a senior role, to have some understanding and be able to talk to the folks who are directly responsible for implementing these laws. Career outlook, again, across the board in almost every role, this is a field that is rapidly growing. Now, again, I want to emphasize, we are not the program that will prepare you directly to transition, if you're not already a technical person, into the technical roles that are out there, but we provide a really thorough grounding that will enhance your ability to move up in those roles if you do other things to get the more in-depth technical background. And if you're already in a technical role, or if you're in a compliance role and you understand and recognize that this is a growing area, then we're the program that will give you that in-depth knowledge. All right, so how do we do that? Well, we have the program requires 10 courses across 5 semesters. If you stay with the program, we have people that drop off and take a break occasionally and come back, and we'll work with you to do that. But the program is designed for working professionals who want to try to complete this and are willing to, to make the investment of time and effort to complete this in 5 semesters, 2 courses a semester. The core courses that we've created and that we offer regularly in the program are listed here. We also have developed some additional electives in conjunction with our law program. And as a student here, I always emphasize to folks, these are the courses that we built for you, that we will offer, and you will be able to get if you want to finish in 5 semesters. But you're also you're a general student at Cleveland State University within the law school, the law college here. And so you are able to also take other courses, that really any other course that we offer, if it's with permission, if it fits within, generally speaking, this field. And so there's some flexibility to do other courses. It's just when you take those other courses, they won't be built in quite the same way. For the most part, they won't be 100% asynchronous. While there will be there are some offerings that are asynchronous, they won't be built in this neatly structured way. So these are the courses we promise you that you will get. And the reason that we've structured it this way is because if you look on the left, the first 2 courses, Intro to American Law and Legal Writing, those are the foundational law courses for people who are not lawyers. And by the way, if there's a lawyer in the audience who's interested in taking this, we'll work with you to find alternatives to those 2, because you won't need those. But those give you that grounding in the law, and you'll always start with one of those, usually Introduction to American Law, and then get the other as you progress. Below that, Cybersecurity 1 and 2. Cybersecurity 1 is the foundational technical course for non-technical folks, and even for some advanced technical folks. Most of them find it useful to take this course either as a refresher, or if you're in IT but haven't done cyber, it's the baseline cybersecurity course. And that's a course that's technical in nature. We adapted it for this program to make it even more technical, and it's a hands-on lab course where you do some light pen testing against CSU's system and some other interesting hands-on lab. Don't worry if you don't have a technical background. It's challenging, but Spence Witten, who teaches it, is amazing at getting folks to feel comfortable by the end. Okay, then after that, our sequence includes upper level law topics. Privacy law and management is the required survey course of all the privacy and cybersecurity related laws, focused on the US, but includes Europe. On the technical side, we've got Cybersecurity 2, which is a course where you learn to create a program and identify the technical controls that will map to and comply with many of those laws that you'll learn about in privacy law and management. And then keeping with the technical side, the technical capstone, you might not take it at the very end, but you'll take it after Cybersecurity 1. That's another lab-based course where we use the Ohio Cyber Range, which is an entity that we are part of. And the content is reflects a lot of the content that you need for the Certified Ethical Hacker course. And so it's focused on those issues, that information, and those skills. And then continuing with the law side, corporate compliance 1 and 2, one of the major areas here that cybersecurity sits within as a legal topic in privacy is compliance. And so whether you want to be a compliance professional, which is the major field that non-lawyers who want to work in law enter into, it's important to understand how cybersecurity and privacy fit within that broader framework and understand how compliance professionals think and the issues that they're dealing with. And if you're in a technical role or want to be in a technical role, again, those are the folks who are going to get into the specifics of creating the policies that implement the laws. And they're the ones that you'll need to talk to and either be able to help shape those policies, or where you see a policy that seems like it's asking for something that's unreasonable, be able to work with them to say, hey, are there some alternatives here that we could do to reach that same objective that won't get in the way of either the IT operations or the business operations? And so understanding that field is important. So we have 2 courses there. And then HIPAA and privacy, health law in the US, the HIPAA law and high tech, the related law, are the most extensive data privacy and cybersecurity specific laws. And so by learning HIPAA, it gives you a baseline to understand really any other complicated law, because all of these laws ultimately map to some major frameworks, in particular the NIST framework. And HIPAA is the one that goes the sort of the deepest into that. So, and also HIPAA's everywhere. So understanding HIPAA really allows you to go a little deeper in one specific area on the issues you'll learn in privacy law and management. And then finally, cyber law is a course that pulls the lens out a little bit and starts looking at the national security and the criminal law dimensions of cybersecurity law and policy. That course, we're lucky to have a professor from the United States Air Force Academy who's a former member of Cyber Command who did this stuff for a living, and Jeff Biller is great. And so students really enjoy that course because, again, almost any cybersecurity attack has some national security and often international law and always a criminal law dimension because it is a crime. And so understanding that, even if you're not going to be working directly in national security or criminal law, it's important to understand that because inevitably whatever you're doing will ultimately feed back into those areas. Okay, so that is our curriculum. I'm going to pause because I know I'm talking quickly. And Julie, I can't see the chat. So if there's any questions, just let me know.
Nothing so far, but we'll give everybody a quick sec to chat anything or raise their hands. Let me look at the participants.
Yeah, and I'll keep moving through, but if something comes up, just stop me.
Okay, sounds good.
Oh, okay. And so then, what does all this do for you? Well, as I've said throughout this presentation, we're giving you that 360-degree view, right? You are understanding not only the legal, but also the technical side. And then the courses are designed for the most part to look at this from an operational perspective. So privacy law and management, the reason the management is in there is because it's taught, and I co-created it with me, so you'll see me on the videos, but it's 100% taught by Kirk Harrith, who is currently Ohio's cybersecurity strategic advisor, the highest policy position in cybersecurity in our state, and came from Nationwide Insurance, a national insurance company where he created their privacy and security program when this stuff was all new. He tells a great story about how HIPAA came online, and he volunteered to do the HIPAA project, thinking it'd be a 6-month thing, and it turned into a career. He teaches it from the perspective of, well, how does the legal and compliance office interact with the technical folks and the business folks, right? How do we serve the business function while doing what these laws require? So it starts with all the laws, but it pivots in the last third of the class into actually creating the program. So when we talk about the business aspects, almost all of our courses, the Corporate Compliance 1 and 2, again, are focused in that kind of way on how does this stuff live and breathe in an organization, not just what are the laws, what are the elements, what are the requirements. So it's focused again on getting to those nuts and bolts. And of course, throughout, then you are going to learn about all of the major laws and many of the major frameworks. I mentioned NIST is a big one. You'll talk about ISO 27001. You'll talk about these other frameworks, CIS controls, which are the sort of industry standards, because especially in cybersecurity, although there are a lot of laws that are coming online, unlike privacy, where they're highly prescriptive, when it comes to security, for the most part, they're saying something general like have reasonable security or have reasonable security plus this set of things. But defining reasonable security means looking at these industry frameworks. And so we give you exposure to them and understand how to use them. And then, of course, on the legal side, we're getting you in the weeds on complying with all of these things. Okay, so that is our program. And unless there are questions for me, and I'll take them even as Julie takes over, I'm going to hand it back to Julie, and she'll tell you what the application process looks like.
Thanks, Brian. Yeah, so it doesn't seem like there's any questions yet, but like we said, please feel free to chat, raise your hand at any time, even while I'm talking, because I can understand it might take a second for your question to come. So if you are interested in pursuing this program, either on the full Master of Legal Studies basis or in a certificate fashion, and we can talk about that privately, which one might make more sense for you. Our next cohort is spring 2024, which starts the week of January 8th. And in order to be considered for spring 2024, either for the full master's program or a certificate, you must have all your application materials completed and submitted by November 1st. The application is very simple. Most of you have most likely already been on our website, given that you registered for this webinar. So you will start the application that same way. On any page you click on the web page, there's a big green Apply Now button. So if you press that, it'll start the process of creating your application. And what we need from you in order to be considered is a current resume, a personal statement describing why you want to do this program, your motivation, your interest in this program. Oh, and I see a question. Hold on. Oh, it went away. Alana, did you have a question? If so, you can raise your hand again and I'll let you, we'll give you permission to speak, but I'll continue. And then, of course, your official transcripts from your undergraduate degree and any other subsequent degree that you have that you would like to include. The only thing that you cannot upload to the application are those transcripts. So I ask that you email me a copy or have your university email me a copy directly. And that will be considered your formal application. I will then send your formal application to the admissions committee, and we get decisions out pretty quickly and get you enrolled in classes and ready to start well before the term begins. But just as a reminder, the deadline is November 1st for anybody that would like to start in our spring 2024 cohort. Any questions?
And let me pull up the contact info so everyone's got it.
So you should all have our contact info from any reminder emails that were sent about the webinar, but here is this MLS online email goes to both Brian and I. So if you have a specific programmatic or curriculum question, that might be better suited for Brian, you can send us an email to that MLS online, and both Brian and I will see it and decipher who should reply.
Yep. All right. Questions? Going once, twice. All right. Well, thank you for attending, everyone. And again, feel free to reach out on that email. And as Julie said, we both get it, and one of us will respond quickly.
Thank you guys so much. We look forward to speaking with you.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Brian.